You know what I find fascinating? The simple fact that people actually are just now realizing that big tech is a big problem and very scary. It's very strange to me. It would have seemed obvious. I mean, you'd see this coming a mile away, or most of us did, I'm sure. But hey, Variety went out and did it again and got us some data. Let's take a look. Here we go. So I really want to dive straight into the story this time. We're going to fire right into it. I'll make comments along the way, and then we'll kind of sum up. I mean, that makes for a more concise video, right? So here we go. From Variety's intelligence platform. Survey, U.S. consumers fear power of big tech. I'm going to say, no kidding. Big tech's power remains a key concern for most Americans. Variety intelligence platform partnered with Get Wiser Consumer Insights to ask 1,700 Americans their attitudes around the influence big tech has as part of our ongoing, or actually their ongoing version of a demographic divide. I guess it's some kind of series they've been putting together, and I didn't click on it, so clearly I didn't care, but I just like the raw numbers, so we're going to keep going. The firms that make up big tech is Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, Meta, and they're already facing market challenges as stocks faltered in Q1. Well, of course. With investors briefly losing faith, although Apple, Amazon, and Alphabet have since somewhat recovered temporarily, because I think we're going to see some shifts. There's a lot of things that are coming down in the world, including rampant inflation, that's going to challenge people to invest in new tech, etc., like an iPhone, or participate in the things that Google wants you to do. But anyway, I'll keep going. The findings from VIP's study with Get Wiser will only add to these concerns, and here we go. Familiarity with big tech term. It looks like, in a breakdown of these demographics, 15 years and older, of course, 77% have heard of these companies. Have you heard of big tech as referring to Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Google collectively? And of course, everybody's answering yes, or 77 people. In the demographic 15 to 29, of course. In the 30 to 44, it's 76%. In the demographic 45 to 59, it's 5%, and in the 60 plus, it's 81%. It's strange. So obviously, the vast majority of Americans, according to the article, have heard the term big tech. No kidding. Almost cursed. Which shows how ubiquitous these firms have become with products and services that touch our everyday lives, either directly or indirectly. And it is this influence or idea of influence that concerns many Americans. It's not an idea of influence. They have massive influence. We're fighting with it all the time in just the political sphere, culture, and pop culture, and let alone pretty much everything else in your day-to-day lives is being sold by these entities. But I digress. We'll keep going. Big tech's influence over consumers. Survey question was, does big tech have too much power over the public? 15-year-old plus says 66%. 15 to 29 is 68%. 30 to 44 is 61%. 45 to 59 is 63%, and 60 plus is 72%. So the vast majority of people in all of these categories agree. 2/3 of Americans think big tech wields too much power over the public. When assessing this by age groups, it's particularly interesting to note that 15 to 29s have the second highest level of concerns, behind those that are 60 plus, the older demographic. I think all of them are concerned, but okay. Considering that these groups are vastly different in terms of being digital natives or analog, which I honestly believe is complete crap. There are just as many analog youthful people as there are older people. Believe me, my parental units are the example of being very digitally native, well into their, well, beyond their 60s, let's just put it that way. I'm not going to date myself that much. Considering these groups are vastly different in terms of being digital natives or analog paper natives, it is intriguing to see they have similar concerns around these companies. Individual big tech companies that are too influential. Well, here we go. Here's the question. Which, if any, of the following companies have too much power? And breaking it down here, you can see Meta, 81% too much power, 15 plus. And again, similar results across the board. The only one that seems to be less scary to people seems to be Apple, which I don't know why. There are very few people that answered none of these types of things, which is interesting. It's a tall order for them to find a group that's agreeing so consistently on these things. And in other words, this is pretty good representation of what people think. When asked which individual companies had the greatest power, Meta was consistently number one across all age groups. Well, of course, everybody has heard of Facebook, if not used it, and probably ran away from it when they realized just how much power they were handing over to a company like Meta. It saw its lowest score among 15 to 29s, and this is perhaps because they use alternative social networks to Instagram and Facebook. Well, that's probably true, with this age group having a far greater concern around Apple than any other, which is interesting. They did have the highest score around that at 69%, probably because of the recent information that was provided to the public, if you were paying attention, about just how much data Apple collects and where they send it, which should scare everybody, should shock you and scare you. It shouldn't be something you're okay with. I'll keep going. Of concern to all big tech, and perhaps interest to lawmakers on Capitol Hill, is the fact that a majority of respondents think that all of the constituent companies have too much power. This has not altered much from its first study with Get Wiser filled in July of 2021. So almost a year later, we're looking at exactly the same numbers. I guess 9 months later, but I'll keep going. Suggesting that this is a permanent concern for the public. Well, no kidding. Government monitoring. This is an interesting answer to a question that I think is not the right way to go about it, but we'll keep going. Should the government keep tabs on big tech more closely? Once again, overwhelming majority of people think so, but I'll go through it. 15 plus is 68%, 15 to 29, 66%, 30 to 44, 66%, 45 to 59, 66%, and if you're over 60, 74% think that you should be keeping close tabs on big tech. I think we should have more than close tabs. I think we should be doing something about this, but hey. Given public fears over the powers these firms wield, it is not surprising that over 2/3 of Americans think the government should pay more attention. This brings up the issue of having the right people in government to monitor. As hearings in 2021 suggested, not all members of Congress have an accurate understanding of big tech. Yeah, because they're 1,000 years old. Something that surely benefits these companies whenever they are called to a hearing. Yeah, if you have somebody like Nancy Pelosi there who can barely put 3 sentences together into a paragraph, let alone 2 or 3 words at a time, without sounding like she's had a bottle of vodka, then yeah, I think we need some younger people that understand this stuff. And believe me, the staff isn't even preparing these people for what's going on in the real world, but that's a whole other problem. It's political. I'm not going to talk about it. We'll just keep going. Individual big tech companies that should be broken up. Aha, this is the stuff. Survey question: which, if any, of the following companies should be split up? Here we go. Meta, 73% in the 15-year-old group. 15 to 29 says 65%, 30 to 44 says 68%, 45 to 59 say 73%. Mind you, these are the people who are actually out there in their earning years between 45 and 59. This is where you make the cream of your crop as far as money. You've settled, your kids are probably on their way to college, if not already out the door, and you are banking on the future. So I can understand why 73% of that group wants to get rid of, break up Meta, which, believe me, I'm 100% behind. And of course, 60 plus is 84%. Anybody that's 60 or older who uses Facebook consistently, which I just want to tell you, that's actually one of the biggest groups of people using Facebook, 84% want to break them up. And they're not wrong. But this is pretty much across the board. We'll go through it. Amazon, 55% of people in the 15-year-old age group. They 15 to 29 is 52%. 30 to 44 is 55%. 45 to 59 is 54%. And 60 and older is 58%. We'll just keep going. It's interesting to me that as we get to Google, 15-year-olds and older, they want to break up Google. 15 to 29, 50% again. Slightly less for 30 to 44, which I don't understand. About 43%, 45 to 59, also surprising at 48%, and of course at 60 plus, 59%. Again, people who have more information, have the ability to get more information over the course of the day, be more informed, they're definitely wanting to break up Google as well. And then we get to Apple. And it's fairly consistent, very similar to what people think of Google, although it ticks slightly higher than Google. So across the board. I'm not surprised. Most people not thrilled. When asking those who thought big tech should be broken up to name a company, this would happen to almost 3/4 said Meta. This concern grows by age group, but should be a real concern to Mark Zuckerberg and shows the company will need to roll up its sleeves to convince Americans that it being one company is for the best. A majority also thought Amazon should be split up, with it literally 50-50 for Google and Apple. Like I said, the overall sentiment is at least one big tech company should be split up, with fewer than 1 in 10 saying none of these. Fewer than 1 in 10. That's 10%. Fewer than 1 in 10. In fact, looks like consistently 8% adjusting to the mean. So about, yeah, that's bananas. Wow. When asked why, consumers tended to name one of 4 themes consistently: too much power and influence over the public and markets, too much wealth and not paying enough tax, being close to monopolistic and able to stifle competition, manipulating public opinion, and having biases against certain social groups. All 4 of those things. I think probably most people could weight them and be able to tell you, no, that's pretty much all the reasons to do it, is all of those things. All are very concerning to the MAAA companies. FANG, F-A-A-N-G, weird, as an acronym must now be retired given Facebook's name change. Oh, I see. But this does not represent a way to tamp down concerns. A concession must be made, whether it's a cessation of tax avoidance strategies or more transparency in the name of regaining public trust. They're not going to give up either of those things. They will have to be broken up. I'm sorry. I just understand these people. Addressing the major concerns of the American consumers will be painful and may see stocks fall in the short term, but it could help avoid a much greater impact of being split into multiple components or heavy government oversight. I think they're going to get both. I really do. Like I said, right now there is a person that's going to be put in a position with the FTC that does not in any way like Amazon at all. We'll have to see what happens when they get the 5th person there to make the overriding decision whether or not to start to go after these companies. I think they're going to. And honestly, I don't think it matters partisan-wise. I think both entities realize they need to bust up these companies. Should things stay the same, it's unlikely the public worry will melt away. It's more likely to get stronger and drive increasing demands for exactly what big tech wants to avoid. Change will likely and ultimately occur, though the key driver of what that is or how impactful it ends up being will depend on whether big tech is the agent of change itself. And there you have it. Look, I've been talking about this big tech thing for quite some time. It's been rather concerning to me and probably to many of you, considering the number of views I get on these videos. I think we're beyond the point where we can have them make small adjustments to assuage our concerns. They're going to have to either brought to heel with extreme prejudice in a way that basically includes breaking them up, or they just have to all be broken up into little bits, or, and this is the last thing, and this was suggested by a Supreme Court justice, they all start to be governed as utilities. As far as Amazon goes, I'm convinced that breaking them up would probably be the best, most efficient way to solve some problems in a marketplace that is now pretty much dominated by 2 players, Walmart and Amazon. But as far as the others, I think you can manage them as utilities. And I think you could do a good job of that, and it would, automatically fix the problems that people have with their biases, because they wouldn't be allowed to be such anymore. And there's a lot of other things that could come into play there, but hey, at least they would be called on the carpet or into the town hall, so to speak. The question always is, what do you think? Do you think we should start breaking up these companies? The survey data, most people agree we should be breaking them up, or at least governing them in the extreme. And let me tell you, I'm on board with either and both of those things. Do you think that, the people that are more hesitant to do this are on the right side? Well, if you have that opinion, I'd like to know why. Please use the comment section down below, as I would like to, have that exchange. Because I can't see a reason why you wouldn't be concerned with big tech. And finally, are there any other big tech stories you want me to cover that I may have missed? I do try to keep up on these, and if you saw something, hey, shoot me a suggestion. I'll be glad to take a look at it. And now we come to the part of the video where I suggest you also support other independent creators here on the platform. Well, in any platform that you happen to be watching me on right now. You see, the algorithms are weighted towards the corporate content creators, which most of you already know because you've heard me say it thousands of times, but it doesn't make it less true. So, share, comment, hit the like button, and subscribe to your favorite channels. Make sure that you spread their content far and wide so that they can grow and start to displace some of these corporate content creators for whom the algorithm is essentially rigged. Be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. And until next time, bye.
Hey there, one last quick note before I let you go, and before we make it to the end of this video. I, CultureCasino, have a brand new Teespring store. That's right, you can now go to Teespring, look up CultureCasino, or use the link in the video below, and pick out some handsome and beautiful CultureCasino merchandise with many different designs and styles and colors, many different items. I was actually surprised at all of the things that you could create, and I have some more designs and items on the way here shortly. But, if you want to support the channel in that way, there is some merch. Otherwise, here comes the ending. Thanks for visiting today. Be sure you're subscribed and hit that for alerts.
Yay!
Of course, like and share all of the videos that you can, as it helps with the algorithm. Have a great day.